Hi everyone, I'm Angela Clark with Threadwaggle Quilting, and today we are going to be talking about how to make corners in Pattern CAD. So from your home screen, you're going to click on Pattern CAD, and then you are going to come into the screen that looks like this. So I am going to make a few assumptions that you've been in here before and you know a little bit about where stuff is. If you have not, I do have a video on Pattern CAD that you can watch, specifically the drawing and editing videos on Pattern CAD here on my YouTube site. And you may want to look at those as well. And I'll try to get some links up in YouTube so that you can get to those as well. So I'm going to start out by going over here to the plugins on the top right, and I'm going to go to Corner Maker. And every time you go into the Corner Maker, it's going to ask if you want to clear your work. I don't have any work, so I'm just going to say yes. And it's going to bring up an elbow looking display area. So the whole idea behind this is that it's going to put a repeat on your top border and your side border, and then you get to choose how you're going to be dealing with the corner. So I'm going to start out by choosing a design that's inside of your quilt path or Quilter's Creative Touch, and that's going to be shamrock and leaf. So as you can see, it's going to put my top border and my side border, and then it puts another shamrock on a corner. Now, for most patterns, you're going to have to do some editing, and that's going to be true with this. I'm not going to just be able to use this the way it is, and that's fine. So in the end, what I want is my shamrock kind of coming up into the corner and my leaf straight across so that it meets up with this design the same way that this leaf is. Now, if I click on the actual design, I can pull them right and left and try to get them where I want them to be. I can also pull the corner design around, and I'm going to do a little bit about that. I'm not really concerned about the corner. I'm just trying to give myself enough space on my top border that I think I can turn that leaf. Okay, once I get it about the way I want it to look, I'm going to hit the OK button, and you will see that it brings it into Pattern CAD to be edited. Now, some things that I have learned that have made my life a little bit easier when I'm trying to get things to join up in borders later. When I need to move the top or the side border from now on, I am not going to just click, select everything in this design and move it around by grabbing onto the little nodes and pulling things around. I'm going to use the move buttons, because on the top button, I only want to move things right and left, and on the side button, I only want to move this up and down. I don't want to play with its height, because if I play with the height on the top border, it's not going to match up with the original design in borders. So just make sure you're a little bit careful when you're doing that, and you should be okay. So I'm going to start out by playing with this top design. And what I want to do is change and rotate it a little bit. So I'm going to go to Pattern Edit, and I'm going to use the Select Section button, highlight one of my nodes. It'll highlight the entire repeat I have, so it's doing just the second design. And then I'm going to get my shamrock rotated the way I want it to look in the corner. So I'm going to go to Rotate, and I'm going to start with doing it by 15 degrees because I have a feeling that I'm going to want to rotate it quite a bit. So that to me looks pretty close to what I have below. I think it needs to be rotated one more time. Nope, 15. Oh, I did 45. So I'm going to reverse it and go back 45 and return it again. And that's actually the rotation that this shamrock is in down here. So I could push my shamrock up from this position so that it's in my corner and see how I like it. Now, I have complete control over joining this middle one up. It doesn't have to be at the exact same height as the one coming in to the bottom does and the one going out from the side, because they need to join up with more repeats of this to go across my border. This corner one, I am going to be matching up myself. So if I move it a little bit, it's not that big of a deal. So I'm going to come up here and go back to Pattern Edit, Select, and unselect the Select Section button. And then I'm going to unselect the nodes for just my shamrock. Okay. And I'm going to want to kind of pull this down so that it's closer to where I want it to be inside my border. And then I want to rotate it so that it's in about the same rotation as the leaf over on the right. So I'm going to come up to rotate, and I'm going to hit I think I want it to go this way, so clockwise. It's going to be more than 45 degrees, I can tell you that. Ooh, there we go. That looks right. Okay, so now I want to get it so that it's spaced about right against the two shamrocks. And then I'm going to unselect all. I'm going to be playing with this a couple times, but that's looking actually pretty good. The spacing between the two is going to be controlled by the how far the start point of the third design is to the third shamrock, right? So I think that is going to be okay. And then I'm going to need to grab this and get it out of the way for a second so that I can get the two ends of the spline and try to shape it so it's where I can understand what that spline's doing a little bit better. So I just pulled everything down because I want this to come up and it needs to join into the bottom of the two nodes over here. Okay, so I have that done, and I'm going to grab my spline again. Okay, so I have my splines twisted. That's why it's making that loop. So I'm just going to sit here and play with my spline until I get it shaped the way I want it to be shaped, which is kind of a smooth little arc. Once I have that shaped the way I want, I'm going to unselect all again. Okay, so I need to move the design that is on top over just a smidge, like probably just by small or a couple tinies. So I am going to do select section again, select one of the nodes, so it selects all of them in my third repeat. And then I'm going to go to the move button, and this is where where I was telling you I am going to move this using these buttons and not try to pull it over by one of the nodes, because I want to make sure it stays completely inside its border. And what I'm looking at, I'm going to zoom in so you can see, I'm trying to get this node right on top of that one. So it may take me a couple times of playing back and forth. Okay, so there we go. That's pretty darn close. So I'm going to unselect all. So select, unselect all. And then I want to do just those two nodes. Oops, I need to make sure I have select section off, unselect all, and then make sure I have just those two nodes selected, and I'm going to snap them together using snap selected on the left. Okay, so now that is continuous. If I go, I'm going to hold off going into optimize until I can get this all together. Where this node, or this design connects to the bottom design is right here. So I need to move this whole design up. So I'm going to select section again, grab a single node, and I need to go to move. And this time I'm going to go by more than tiny because it needs to come up a whole lot. And you're going to see I'm going to end up having to edit a couple things in here because my point for my my leaf is actually crossing over that gentle line I made. That's fine. I can fix that. And then also these two are not going to line up. Okay, so I'm going to go back up to select, and I'm going to deselect all or unselect all. Okay, with none of my nodes highlighted, I'm going to make sure I unselect select section just in case. But with none of my nodes selected, I am going to tap on this node right here and bring it up on top of the other nodes. If you don't select it, if it's not red, it'll move just the single node. I'm going to highlight it so they're both red, and I'm going to snap those together. So now my design is continuous, right? If I go up to optimize, it's a continuous design. I can remove all, and it would quilt this way. I still need to fix this one spline right here. So what I'm going to do is try to put it on an S curve and see if I can get it to clear this one little repeat. I think I want a little more attitude than that. There we go. So I'm trying to get an S curve on it, kind of like this S curve. That's all I was trying to do. So I'm going to unselect all. And there you have it, guys. When I go to optimize, it's all still one design. All I have to do is save this. So I'm going to go to save, and I'm going to put my design somewhere I can remember that it is. So I'm going to put it in my 3, and then I'm going to just call this Shamrock and Leaf, which is the name of the original design, and then corner. It has to have a unique name. It can't be named the same thing. And I'm going to hit enter and then hit save. So let's see what happens when I go to use this. I'm going to just clear my screen, hit the X. You don't have to clear it first. I normally do though. And then I'm going to go into my border feature. I'm going to say okay, and I am simulating, so it's going to ask me for numbers, and I don't want to set these numbers bigger than my safe area, so 120 takes care of my 12-foot frame. 20 inches tall is about the size of most of the APQS machines, are going to be 20 inches or more, everybody but Lenny. When I come into borders, it's going to have the miter style chosen. I want to use corner, and then I want to come down to get patterns, which is choice number 3. Grab the corner I just created, grab the oops. Okay, so it is telling me it is outside of the safe area, which is true in this case. I'll fix that in just a second. I'm going to choose the border I need as well, which is this border, right? And then the reason it's outside of the safe area is that right now my border is 7 inches tall. This is not a border I would ever do at 7 inches. I might do it at 4, so I'm just going to change it to 4. And I'm simulating, so typically when I'm simulating, I will lock border width and my border height so that I just have to click on one point to set my border. You don't do that when you're quilting borders for real, but when you're simulating, it makes it quick for you. Anyways, this is a shamrock border that I can use to quilt any of my quilts with. It is continuous, so that makes it really quick to quilt, and you can do this on almost any continuous line pattern. Definitely the ones that are inside of Quilt Path, they're all very basic patterns and easy to do. If you have a complex pattern that's got a lot of movement to it, it may not be worth your time to play with, but most of the ones in the continuous line folder in the Quilt Path directory are simple enough that it works really, really well. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and next month we'll be learning to do something else. What I'm doing right now is trying to get you some skills so that we can do a project later. So instead of trying to do a project that you would be quilting this month, I decided to do a project teaching you a little more about how to create your own borders so that we could create a design of our own in the future. Thank you for watching the video. If you've enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and also comment below and tell us things you'd like to learn how to do with your computerized system or your long arm. We would love to do more videos for you, and It's always fun to know we're doing something that people are interested in. Once again, my name's Angela Clark. I'm with Threadwaggle Quilting and the Quilting Academy, and I hope you have a wonderful day quilting.